안녕하세요. 충남. My name is Ikuko and I'm so excited to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me. And I also got time until 12:30, which means after my talk, which I will try my best to talk from my heart. I like to hear opinions and questions. I'm so excited, it's such an honor to be here. Thank you very much, the Board of Education. Thank you. Well, this is my profile. Next year is my 40th year. I opened up a tiny school for after school club for Japanese children with my own program. And now it's extended for about 4,000 students throughout Japan. And the year of 92 and 93, I had 2 children, 1 year, 1 month, one day apart. So when my child became the age of 2, I decided to open up a school in middle of Tokyo, over religion, over nationalities. I just wanted to open up a school for both boys and girls. That's Tokyo International School. And this year we have students from 69 different countries, including of course Korea, and 400 students. Did I say 400? Then while I was running the Tokyo International School, I met several students who's got development disorder, such as autism, ADHD, AG. So I decided to open up a tiny school for those special needs students. And now we have 21 different nationalities from grade 4 till grade 12, only 90 students. But that's 3 organizations I founded and still running. But one of the things I always wanted to do was I wanted to voluntarily work for the policies for the nations. But until 2011, which was the year my second daughter graduated from high school, I was busy being mom, which is very important job. I would probably say the most important job. Working and being mom. In the morning time, I had to make 3 bentos. One for 10 o'clock, 10 in the morning because my kids get hungry. Then 12 lunch, and 3 o'clock before they start doing sports. See? So the year of 2011, I decided to get involved with public policies. And now that the central government, Ministry of Education, Culture and Sports gave me a title, specially appointed fellow for international policies. And also international baccalaureate, and because the number of the schools jumped up over 250, they gave me a title for Japan ambassador. Then every year I choose about 3 or 4 different provinces, Board of Education, to become advisor or board members. That's what I do. And another government that I did, IB 200 schools project, which I'll tell later, but there's lots of subjects being able to take in mother tongue. And for 8,700 special needs teachers for development disorder stationed down at primary school and middle school. So we have 20,000 primary schools and 10,000 middle schools in Japan. So 8,700 wasn't enough, but it was a good beginning. And also, other problem we had was that all the teachers in the classroom needed to have a Japanese teacher's license. But for non-Japanese teachers, it's hard to have Japanese teacher's license because tests are all in Japanese. So special teacher's license that I made, and so now they can teach. And at one time, we have Indian communities in Japan, in Tokyo, because Japanese government decided to bring lots of IT manpower to Japan, and lots of Indians are very good at IT. And so they created the school for their children, and so automatically they started doing, yes, slowly. Sorry about that, I speak too fast. So they started doing Cambridge International's program. So they finished up Cambridge International, but Japanese higher education had no idea what the Cambridge International A-level and AS levels are. So what they did is when the children got the age of grade 10, they sent them back to India, finish up India's national curriculum, so they could apply to the university in Japan. So that's crazy. Family would be apart, right? So I worked on that, and now Cambridge International A-level and AS level, they can go to Japanese higher educations. And the last thing, but not last thing, this year passed, another thing passed the cabinet, but what I did in 2019, the central government decided to provide Wi-Fi to 20,000 primary school, 10,000 middle school, public schools throughout Japan with a gadget for the student. Okay? And when they asked me to be a member to make that decision, I said, I'm so analog. I need to have my reading glasses to go through this, and I always have to ask my daughter to do this and that. But they said, well, that's not what we are expecting you to do. We are expecting you to make a decision and go get it. So I did it, and now all the primary school, middle school, and high school, they have Wi-Fi. Anyway, am I bragging a little bit too much? Okay. This is my primary school. I was born and raised 40 kilos from Tokyo, beach town. And my primary school, when I was in grade 3, my homeroom teacher asked me that if I could tutor one of my classmates, Shibata-san, because Shibata-san was having such a hard time for doing easy math. 3 times 5, 20 divided by 4. So I said, okay, I can teach her. So I made all kinds of materials. I was so excited. Then lesson started. So I was showing her all kinds of ways. She was smiling, very nice girl, but she never got it. I was so disappointed. But at the same time, I learned that she was so good at knitting. And she taught me how to knit. I still knit because of Shibata-san. And we made a deal. Okay, Shibata-san, I'm going to do knitting at home and make it 20 centimeters by tomorrow, and you do these questions. Okay? And I went home and I was doing knitting, I'm not as good at with hands. Then I brought it to Shibata-san, and there was one stitch missing. And she goes, shh, my runner work. Oh no. Then she did it so quick was so good with hands. Then I felt, I think I was 9, I felt, I wish all my classmates knows that Shibata-san is so good at knitting, but nobody knew. Then I noticed there are other classmates who are good at something else. Minami-kun, he was so funny. He was a comedian in the class, clown the class. If Minami-kun is in the group, everybody had a good time. Then there was Natori-kun. Natori-kun was strong. He was a small champion. And there was Sakura-chan. She was so kind and very good listener. Then I was thinking, well, at school, knitting or being funny or being strong or being kind are not graded. Wish that if those things are graded and evaluated and everybody knew about it, and Shibata-san, Minami-kun, Natori-kun, and Sakura-chan, they all have confidence. That was the first time I noticed that. I have a cousin, much older than I am, actually 19 years older than I am. So when I was in middle school, my cousin had a second child, a girl, and she was born with severely handicapped. Basically, she cannot do anything. She can talk, she can see, she can hear, she can stand up. Only the thing she can do is having her tongue out and shakes her head. That's all she could do, and she still can do those things, that's all. Then, since I was so young, and I was thinking, why she was born? But every summer, or and every Oshogatsu, New Year's, then maybe same thing in this country that we have family, relatives get together. So I saw my cousin's family twice a year, and I was watching my cousin's family, and I noticed one thing. For this child, when she goes, I understood nothing. But my cousin's family knew exactly what she wanted. Water, changing diaper, and their family tie was so strong. Looking around the other relatives in my families, I felt this cousin's family's tie so strong and strongest, and I was right, because at the end, her older sister chose the path to work in the social welfare. And she told me, Iko-ne-chan, Iko-ne-chan, I could never have chosen my occupation, one for my younger sister. So even this girl, who can do anything, still has something shining in her, which is just being. And as all we were educators, you know there are many theories the word educate, origin, come from. I love the one, the Latin one, means bring out. What you bring out. Each one of us, each one of the children, we have something shining, we have something good in us. So education means find it, nurture it, bringing out and bloom it. That's the meaning of education. And we all belong to different sides of society. Maybe smallest society is a family. And my cousin's baby, she contributed what she's good at, just being there, living, to her smallest society, a family. Then the bigger society, maybe community, town, city, province, country. And Korea, Japan, we belong to Asia and Asia Pacific. And we all belong to Mother Earth, and our Mother Earth belong to the space. Regardless of the size, that if each one of us can contribute what we are good at to make the society become a better place, a peaceful place, we feel we are useful. Then when we feel we are useful, we feel our life is fulfilled. I lost my mother the year of 2020, and towards the last 2 years of my mother's life, she was not happy. She kept telling me, Iko-chan, that's my name, I'm not useful anymore. I cannot cook for you. I cannot clean up a house for you. She wanted to be useful. I think we all are. So, you educators, we all must know the meaning of education is find each one of the students what they are good at, nurture it, bring it out. That's the meaning of education. Well, talking about IB, I suggested implementation of IB to my government the year of 2011. And the reason why I did it, 2 reasons. One, the IB organizations, thanks to you guys, they agreed the final test can be provided in our mother tongue, lots of subjects. You know, IB was born in Europe, so final tests were provided in 3 main official languages back then: French, Spanish, and English. But IB said, all right, so several subjects we can provide final exam in Japanese. That was a big thing. And second, I've seen so many IB students graduate, and I noticed those IB graduates, students, they get to know what they are good at. They can choose their own path by themselves. So that was the reason why I decided to bring into public policy, and in 2013, this IB 200 school project started. At the beginning, that was tough. When I was saying international baccalaureate, baka in Japanese means stupid. So even the president of the big elite university is saying, Tsuboya-san, that's my name, Tsuboya-san, you gotta change the name from baka to not baka. Oh, not many people knew about it. But the hardest thing was most people, including academic people, they all thought IB is the program to make our students become bilingual. 英語ペラペラ. But I said to them, no. You know, to study the second language, how far your mother tongue to the language you like to study, then it depends on the hours of study. So this is just a sample of the elite who works for the U.S. Department of State's Foreign Service Institute. When they decided to send someone to a different country, they have intensive language lesson. And how many hours it took them to become just a daily conversational level. I'm not talking about bilingual level, daily conversational level. Since they are English native speakers, same group, Euro language group, much short of 480 hours. Then look at this. Japanese, Korean, longest hours. Because our language and if you say English are very far apart. But good news is for us Japanese speakers, one of the shortest hours to be able to learn is our brother country's language, Korean. See? So in Japan, primary school and middle school and high school, total hours of studying the second language, which is English, is 1,000 hours. So I think the government, well, if you only spend 1,000 hours expecting students to come to the goal of 3,000 hours, that is misleading. So this misunderstanding was very tough at the beginning. And still, some of them think IB is for mastering English language. But when you think about mother tongue, well, today, yesterday, I had so many kinds of kimchi, yummy. But before I came here, I thought the kimchi was only cabbage. Then I saw different types of kimchi, and I said, what is this? That's kimchi. Oh, what was this? That's kimchi. Oh, I've learned a lot. The same thing with miso shiru, that's my country's soup. That when I saw my colleagues studying Japanese, to them, miso shiru is always tofu and seaweed. But to me, miso shiru, when the root kind of vegetables are in miso shiru, I said, oh, winter is around the corner. Or summer vegetables, because that's what my mother's cooked. It shows language is not only words or grammar, language is a culture, history. So when you think deep, sometimes people say, well, Tsuboya-san, do you dream in English or Japanese? Well, my English is okay, but my Japanese is my mother tongue. When I think deeply, I think in Japanese because mother tongue. So that's the importance of the mother tongue. And very, very basic information about IB. IB has actually 4 programs, but I'm just introducing 3. The first one is called PYP, that's preschool to mainly primary school. And this program is very, very integrated, and they study under 6 themes, which are who we are, where we are in place and time, how we express ourselves, how the world works, how we organize ourselves, sharing the planet. It is very, very integrated. So students study under those themes of different subject over the subject. When they come to a middle school, there'll be 8 subjects, but they encourage students to make practical connections between their studies and real world. And at the end, they come up with personal studies. And by the time they come up with the personal studies, they kind of started knowing, in this window, I feel the most comfortable. Well, in this window, I like it. Then when they choose diploma program, they are advanced and regular courses, but they know, all right, I like to study in this window, so I like to choose this subject in advance. But I need to study this subject to cover what I want to further study. That is how they start thinking. So let me just share one example. I was a council member for Board of Education Sapporo for 6 years. I was going there like 4 or 5 times a year, and sometimes snowed, and I have to wait at the airport for many, many hours. But I'm very happy I did it. Because the 6th year, the last council meeting, I cried. You know why? Because the students, 12th grade, up until then, the way they chose which university, which field of study they would choose, their homeroom teacher and parents and students, they all got together and they look at their scores, prediction scores. Well, your prediction score is this. So maybe you can in Hokkaido University economic measurement, but just in case you cannot make it, maybe you should go for this university education measure. And at the third choice is this university home economics. Different field of studies, but it was decided by the score, prediction score. Then students came to the head of the school saying, well, from this year, we'd like to invite teachers and parents, and we'd like to do a presentation. And of course the schools and teachers are shocked. What are you talking about? But they did it, and one student said, well, while I was studying IB educations, I noticed Middle East is, if oil dried up, they need to start farming. So I'd like to choose the field of my study, farming deserted area. So I would like to go to Tottori University because there's a desert there. And he did it. The other students, that was my first time, got to know there was such a gamer. Do you know what gamer is? I think they just get together and do some kind of electric game together, and it's a big thing for the students, and they do contest. But anyway, he was so good at it. So he was going to Sapporo contest, Hokkaido contest, and he was doing so well. Then along the line, he noticed there are no students attending who have eye problem, blind students. Then he felt like, wow, this e-game is so much fun, but just because of eye problem, those students cannot enjoy that? That's not right. That's not fair. So he decided to research, as all the IB students always do. Then he found one mechanical school in Taiwan. And he wrote a letter of mail and told them that's what he wanted to do, and that's where he goes now. So it's just culture or the way the students choose the higher education changed. There are millions of occupations, billions of occupations. Shibata-san, my friend from grade 3, very good at knitting, very good with hands. If we nurtured her, giving her confidence how good she is with her hands, she might have become a good sewer. If Natori-kun, who's strong, good heart, what else could he do? What's important is we find each one of the students what they're good at, and they must contribute what they are good at to make the world or society make a better and more peaceful place. Like for me, if I'm asked to do a knitting, I'm terrible, that's not my strength. But each one of us has strengths and weakness. My daughters, they hate me showing their picture. They told me, Mom, don't you ever do it? I'm doing it again. Don't tell my daughters. But anyway, my daughter, they are called IB kids, PYP and PBDB. So my older daughter, she always liked children, and she always likes just talking to people. So she chose education as a major in university. Then after she finished bachelor degree in education, she taught in Australia, Colombia, and Germany. Okay. Then all of a sudden, she said, Mama, I'd like to teach more for SDGs and how we can make NGO profitable. So she majored master degree in that field, and that's what she's doing now. And I never told neither of my children to study or which field they should go, no advice. Well, one time they told me, Mom, maybe you don't love us anymore because you never told us to study. So I said, I gotta save once in a while. So I decided to circle once every 3 weeks on a calendar, then go to the date I told my daughters to study. So anyway, my second daughter, she always liked the animals and the rocks. So she was thinking, Mom, should I go for animals or rocks work too? So she chose zoology, bachelor degree, and double major, marine science. Then she worked for animal shelter for 1 year as an intern. Then she decided to go for biology, master degree. And I said, okay, after master degree, no more tuition. Phew. But then when she finished master degree, she all of a sudden said, Mom, I want to become veterinarian. I said, how many years? She said, nearly 6. So I have 2 more years for her to keep on using my credit card. But what I'm trying to say is, well, both of my children, the field of study they chose when they went to higher education, little bit or totally changed. But that's okay. IB education creates the student who can make a decision by themselves. And my daughter told me, Mama, don't tell me what to do. Let me make a mistake. I know you are smarter because of more experience and older than I am. So if I listen to what you tell me, I will make less mistakes. But let me make mistakes. Unless I make mistakes, I never learn. So what I'm saying here is I think the best side of IB education is IB education makes the students who can make a choice by themselves. And if things don't go the way they wanted, they can choose the other one. And they can still keep on going. Now let's take a look at the fact of education in both Korea and Japan. You know, both Korea and Japan are very, very similar. Look at the result of PISA. As you know, PISA is randomly chosen 15-year-old students. Same test, 18 different countries. This is the latest one, 2022. In South Korea and Japan, academically very high, always high. But then, both of us saying, well, what about Singapore? What about Macau? What about Taiwan? But just think about it. Number of students we have in both Korea and Japan, we have much, much more students. So I tell you, the fact is, our academic skill is high. And that is because you educators work very hard and we provide good education. So, like in my country and in this country, I don't see many people who cannot read newspaper. And when I go to the counter or taxi, in this country too, if I give cash and they give me cash back, I don't count. I can just put the cash back, change back into my wallet because I know they can count. But other countries, I always check, okay. Now I paid $50 and that was $38.25. I always check. So I think that we should be proud of our high academic skills throughout the country. Other things, which is very similar, Japan and Korea, is the way that students get into a university or higher education. For a long, long time, Japan, almost all the students take a test one day, like this. And sometimes after that, each university another one-day test. That's how students get into university. But now, all of a sudden, especially since 2021, it's changing, or it's changed. Last year, look at that. Less than 50% of students went to higher education by taking one-day test. Then more than 50% of students got into higher education in different ways. What kind of ways? Essay writing, interviews, and just like the one I told about, the gamer, talking to the school and telling them what he wants and showing them that his champion's record ahead of the school's recommendation. And sometimes that evaluators watch them during discussion, many different kinds of ways. So now students have choice, and I am not denying taking one-day test is all bad. Some students, it fits for some, but what I'm saying here is more choice we provide them is better. That's how I feel. Because I think we finally have realized that we are all different. I have two daughters, same DNA, and I think I raised them up in quite a similar way, but they are so different. My older one is very outgoing. To be honest to you, my older daughter has one boyfriend every 3 years. So last time I made a mistake calling her new boyfriend her old boyfriend name. She got so mad at me. But my younger one only always one or two friends. And for a long time she keeps friendship. Very different. But my older one has her own role. My younger one has her own role. My older one is more emotional. My younger one is very logical. So when I need advice from my daughter, I ask both of them. And which is good because I can balance out because we are all different. And because we are all different, the society works well. So that's one thing. I think that we finally kind of start realizing it's okay that we are all different. Hey. I have great respect towards South Korea for one reason, many reasons, but this is one of them. 20 plus years ago, South Korea decided to put emphasis on culture and art. Japan, out of the Japanese national budget, we spend only 0.11% on culture and art. What about Korea? That's 11 times more. What about per head? Japan spent less than 1,000 yen, which is like 10,000 won, per head. And Korea, 8 times. And after 20 plus years of South Korea doing it, guess what's blooming? Korean movies, TV shows, world well known. Netflix, they have a whole section for Korean TV series. Old, young, male, female, everybody loves Korean movies and TVs. And entertainment. To be honest with you, I'm ARMY. Do you know ARMY? BTS? Why this is happening? Because 20-some years ago, your country decided to put emphasis on culture and art. And the same thing in education. That's the result. I have seen so many children in last 4 years, different nationalities, different ages, and I witnessed with my eyes that education and environment have power to change the children. And we all know children are our future. So you educators, in your hands, that is the future. What kind of education and environment you provide to your own children? Maybe you can see it in 1 year or 2 years, but look at this, 20 years. Now everybody knows about how excellent Korean's artwork is, and everybody got an interest in not only artwork but also the language and entertainment and everything. It takes time, but the future you changed. So we, especially you educators, you must know that how lucky you are, because you have big influence for the future. And in your hand that you can provide education in the environment for your students in the future and change our society to become more peaceful and better place by finding what is shining in each one of the students, bring it out, nurture it. It could be Natori-kun's case just being strong. Or could be my classmate Mashimo-kun, who was so smart, and I had no idea what he was talking about with most of the time. But he was in physics and talking about space physics, and he still does. Everyone's different. There's no such a thing. Mashimo-kun is better than Natori-kun. Because we are all different. We need Natori-kun, we need Mashimo-kun. Right? So that's how society works. So, we are the team. So let's just make our future to be a better, more peaceful place together. Well, I think I have 30 minutes. 30 minutes? Is it till 12:30? Yes? Well, I have 30 minutes that I'd like to hear your opinions or questions about my presentation. And that, so please ask me questions, share your opinions. What? My speaking was too fast, everybody understood what I said? I'm sorry, my Korean is just not so good. But I can say, 사랑해요. And
예, 질의응답 시간을 갖도록